Absolutely, Kemi. So we are done with 7 states, leaving us with, I believe, 29, as well as the FCT. You saw the drama earlier when some party agents came up with their concerns as regards the uploading of the results as promised by INEC prior to this election. They were insisting that this should be resolved before the continuation of the collation. But right there, we also had some other party agents who objected to that position, saying that if there are any objections at all, the attention should be turned to the tribunal and they should allow this process to go through. The Labour Party as well as the PDP party agents, we saw them take a walk out of this particular building. I'm joined now by Jake-Epele, who is a domestic observer for this election, is also the chief executive of the TAF Africa. We saw to reign in Nigeria. Talk more to us about what happened earlier today.
First, I'm on the side of the law. There is no law, even in the Electoral Act, which I was part of the people that fought for. There is no law that says a political party can stop this process. That's the law. And so, but for the peace of this country, for the sake of the destiny and the soul of this country that is yearning out for peace, we need to allow this process to continue and be completed, and the aggrieved have a right to go to the court or the tribunal to seek redress, And so what I did is needful, and what any elder statesman should do. When two people are fighting, one person must be in the middle to make sure that peace will reign, But like I said, I'm on the side of the law, I'm not totally, absolutely happy about what has happened even before this process, but we can't throw the baby with the bathwater. This process should continue and be completed. The entire world is watching us. We must behave ourselves so that at the end of the day, whoever is aggrieved can go and seek for redress. Let the best win. Let Nigerians be the one that will determine who will rule her and not any individual.
So INEC released a statement yesterday where it clarified the challenges the commission was having with this portal with which elections were supposed to be uploaded. It acknowledged that it's a bit slow and unsteady and that work is going on as to fixing it. Let's talk about the mutual trust and understanding that should exist right now between the electorate and the commission.
Well, that intervention came too little, too late. I was one of the first people that alerted INEC to go on and tell the nation what happened. And I think some of the issues and the challenges we're going through is traceable to that gap in communication. I always say I'm one of the defenders of INEC because of the good work they have done in terms of, at least in terms of inclusivity, for them to allow that opportunity to slip their finger. That's the result of what we're getting. But again, if the issues that we have recognized have happened, should it be the reason to totally discountenance the process? I don't think so. There is no perfect democracy, and you cannot, in the midst of this situation, begin to call for something that will inflame this country. We cannot afford to do that. Let the process be completed. Everyone have a right, even myself as an individual, as a critical stakeholder in the electoral process. I have my own say. I'm not totally, absolutely happy with what has happened, the lateness and some of the challenges when it comes to logistics. Those are issues that INEC must address, and I'm sure they will address it. And so this is a time for the nation to come together. Let's unite as one indivisible country that we are. We don't have any other country. People like us have turned down opportunities to live outside this country and be citizens. I turned down the American green card. I don't have any other country but Nigeria. And so we must stick together and fix the problem and move ahead. After this election, after this whole process, comes Nigeria, and we must always focus on that. This is not the time to carry placard. This is not the time to riot. This is the time to come together as one indivisible country with intention to fix the country and move ahead.
You're probably also calling on the politicians to remember the peace accord they signed, and to show patriotism at this time. But this is perhaps the fifth level of coalition. First at the polling unit, the ward areas, local government, and the state level. You have monitored previous election and how reliable INEC keep talking about its beavers. Would you say that there's a backup to fall to in the case of a grievance?
I would say that the beavers, which I must tell you, I was part of the first trial, the second trial, the third trial. We interrogated it. It was going to be one of the best things that has happened to this country. But somehow, somewhere, I think the technology either failed them or someone failed the technology. Whatever happens, I think at the end of this process, there should be an absolute interrogation to ensure and to see what happened, and whoever is responsible for this should be brought to book.
The new Electoral Act captures provision for how persons living with disabilities should vote in this election, and I'm sure that you're followed through as to observing how it worked, particularly the Braille alternative for people, yes, and quite a number of things. Yeah. How did it work in those places that you monitor?
Not only that, we came up with an innovation. I remember the British High Commissioner applauding it and saying to me that it's never happened even in UK. We came up with a dashboard that presented live interaction between our situation room, the first PWD situation room, and what was happening in the field. Unfortunately, I have very limited data information. The limited data information we have showed that about 73% compliance, but then the report we are getting from entire country is a far cry from that. I think, and I must say this, this is not new if the INEC chairman hears it. There's a disconnect between what he said and what he wants to do and what happens in the field, and we must fix it. That means someone in the field is either ignorant of what to do or outrightly sabotaging the process, and we must not allow this to happen.
Are you saying that certain persons living with disabilities were disenfranchised in this exercise?
Oh yeah. Well, there's several reasons for that. Number one, because INEC did not go to their polling unit on time, there was a surge of electorate. And that surge, of course, undermined the participation of persons with disability because it created some form of insecurity. And once there is any form of insecurity, persons with disability will leave the environment. I will leave the environment, And so I think that is chiefly the reason why we didn't see what I would call effective participation of persons with disability in this process. And that's a disservice because my projection was that we're going to have 60% inclusivity, and that never happened. I trust me, that never happened. And we have data that proves it. We have issued our first pre-election statement, mid-election statement. I suspended the post-election statement because this process has to be completed for any reasonable post-election statement.
Jake-Epele, Domestic Observative Executive Officer, TAF Africa. Thank you for joining us on Decision 2023.
And kudos to your station. You've always been supportive of inclusivity.
Thank you so much. Do you have a great time monitoring this process? So the National Collation Center is expected to reconvene in a few minutes. We're expecting results from Enugu as well as Lagos, according to the INEC chairman. I'm joined now by TVC's senior correspondent, Nifemi Oguntoye, who's also been monitoring this election. You were in Katsina, and now right now you are in Abuja. It's been quite dramatic what we've seen, right? They say ICC is notorious for such dramas.
Well, it's quite dramatic, as you have said, but, it's the beauty of democracy.
Indeed.
We have seen disagreement from political parties, and it is expected, a lot of them will not agree with the results, but, and we have seen them stage the walkout. When they staged the walkout, they had a press conference just outside. And, a lot of questions were posed, and some people asked that, there are several stages of collation from the polling unit to the registration areas, the wards, and the local government, the state, and all of that.
Yes.
And all political parties have agents representing them at all of these levels. And then someone asked, are you now questioning the competence of your agents at these levels? Are you saying that they did not do a good job, they were not diligent in monitoring the process? And why is it at this level that all of these objections are coming up? Well, they did not answer that, but they have a right to disagree, and they have staged the workout. But for INEC, they also have a duty to do, and the collation must continue. They are working out, or decision to work out did not stop INEC from continuing with the collation. We have seen about 7 states, results from 7 states collated so far, and the process is ongoing. Just after this brief recess, more states will be collated, and we'll make progress.
And but earlier on, we had one of the party agents question the integrity of the result coming from AKT. He had alleged that the number of vote cast was more than that of the accredited voter. The INEC chairman came up with a figure saying that the figure he quoted wasn't in tandem with the one that INEC has. And he went ahead to say that all of the results being brought here by the state collation officers are the exact true copy of what happened at the polling units. But then INEC has also talked a lot about the BVAS and the fact that all of these BVAS are preloaded with only the information of registered voters, people who are to vote in particular polling units. When you spoke to these aggrieved party agents, what are they saying as to, seeking alternatives in the court, particularly with the evidence that they have from their party agents?
Well, a lot of them are not talking about that now, the options available, which is seeking a redress in court from the tribunal level before it goes to the appeal court and then the Supreme Court. They are not talking about that. What they are asking for right now is for this collation to be suspended, they say, until INEC is able to upload all the results on the INEC viewing portal. And once these results are uploaded, and then they can then be checked with the ones manually presented to see if there are no discrepancies. That is what they are demanding. That their demand is that results before they are announced here must have been uploaded on the INEC viewing portal. But what INEC is saying is that that is not backed by law. What INEC is saying is that these results are uploaded from the polling unit. What the law says is that it is the result from the polling unit that should be uploaded, and INEC is saying that some of that have been done, but you also know that INEC has had issues with their server. They have also made claims that hackers have tried to attack their servers, and it has crashed several times, even though they have not been able to penetrate, because INEC is telling us that it's tamper-proof, but it has also slowed down the performance and efficiency of this server.
We have to return to the Lagos studio now, but I don't know if we have the exact number of the parties that walked out, because I found out that a couple of them also decided to stay.
Yeah, there are about 10 of them, and it's also fun, they all came together. We had some of the agents saying, "Oh, the parties are in unison" and all of that. When it got
some stood up to say no.
When it got to the stage to walk out, well, some of them decided to stay back for the interest of their own political party, because you have to be here to monitor the process. You have to be here to ensure that everything happening is what you can verify and go and tell your political party this is exactly what happened.
Absolutely.
Well, for those that walked out, it's their decision, and they would have to explain that to their political parties.
It looks like it's going to be a long one,
night, yeah.
Just 7 out of 36 for the FCT. But be sure, Kemi, that we're not leaving, and we're going to be here to follow the details of this collation. Particularly, INEC says that we are waiting results from Enugu and I believe Lagos.